today of a product that I received quite some time ago that I've been playing around with, and it is the Sapphire 8-in-1 Hair Wand from Irresistible Me. You've probably seen this around on YouTube. There's been a lot of people to post reviews of it, but I wanted to go ahead and give you my opinion. Living in a high humidity environment does not make a heated wand a very good option for me. However, for those of you who have natural curl to their hair, this would be a really great option for a heated set. It comes in a box like this, and it comes in a bag that unrolls like this, sort of like a brush belt. So all the attachments are actually inside this bag. Woo! Sorry, I had it upside down. All of the attachments are actually inside this bag. And it comes with, like I said, 8 different attachments. Now, if you want to switch up attachments in the middle of doing a style, it's going to take a while because you're going to have to wait. You have to take it out, put another one in, and then wait for it to heat up. But the one I have on it right now, there are several different ones. I'm going to show them all to you individually, and then I'm going to try to show you the curl that each one of them creates. This is something I haven't seen anybody do yet because it's going to be a bit time consuming, but we're going to hope that this works out. I'm going to eventually do a style with the curling iron, the curling wand as well, but this I felt like was better for the initial review. So you have a 13mm barrel. Those are all of them. You have a pearl barrel, which is the kind that has the little knobs, the little bumps. You have a 13 and 25mm barrel. That's a tapered one where it's smaller at the base and larger at the end. You have a 25mm barrel, which is, I would say, like a 3/4 inch curling iron. You have a 32mm, which is more like an inch. It's big. You have a 25 13mm, which is actually larger at the bottom and then cone shaped, so smaller at the top. You have a 19mm and a 18.9mm, which is a very small conical one. That's my favorite, but I'll show you why in a minute. So what I'm going to do to showcase this to you is I'm going to use my handy dandy Irresistible Me ponytail extension. Now, I do not typically use heat on this baby because it is natural hair and I want to make sure it stays in nice condition. It's one of my babies. I wear it all the time. If you saw my Nashville Boogie video, you saw that I wore it almost every day at the Nashville Boogie. I absolutely love this thing, and I wear it at work at least 3 times a week. I'll do it in a bun, I'll do it in a top do, I'll do it in a ponytail. I just love having a nice voluminous ponytail as I've never had one my whole life. And as you can see, it's curled at the ends, but the reason it's curled is because I use perm rods on it. I do not use a heated set. So I'm going to get a heat protectant and spray it up, and then I will show you the individual curl that each one of these barrels creates. It comes with a glove to protect your hand from the heat, which I do feel like is very important. If you're wrapping with your left hand like I do and holding it with your right, you'll want to put the glove on your left hand, the one that you're wrapping with. Alright, so this one here is, I believe, the second to the smallest barrel. I forget which one it is. It's not actually written on the barrel, which would be kind of nice, I think, but it's not actually written on the barrel. And I'll show you how to put it in after we apply the second one. So we're going to go ahead and take a small strand. I don't like to curl too large of pieces, even though I know a lot of people do that to get those beachy waves, because my general aesthetic is a lot more about vintage styles. So I tend to do a larger piece, and I start at the base and then I wrap up. I mean a smaller piece, and I start at the base and then I wrap up. I try to keep the hair as flat to the barrel as possible, and you can start at the top and wrap down if you want, but this is just the general way that I tend to do it. You want to try to keep the hair from twisting if you can, and hold it firmly until you feel the heat coming through the glove. Usually that's about 10 seconds. And then you're going to release, and you'll see the curl that you get. The curl that you get with this one is quite small, very spiral. You see that? Turn it off first. Just have to put your hand on it for a second to turn it off. You want to make sure it's off when you actually apply. And you'll see that there's a little sign here with a lock and an unlocked. So to lock, you just basically push the arrow over the part that says unlock, and then you pull out the handle. And make sure it's cooled down a little bit. This one's actually a little hot. I probably should have waited a little longer, but you're going to pull it out by the barrel when it cools down a little bit. The next one we're using is the largest one. This one's at least 1 inch. I'm going to push it in, and it is a little bit harder than I thought it would be to push it in, but you have to just make sure it's pushed all the way in, and then you can lock it. Now it's locked. It's not coming out. So I'm going to turn it back on. And I have it set to 370, and it tells you as it's heating up how hot it is. So it heats up very, very fast. Right now it's at 140, 143, 145, so it goes very fast. And when it gets back up to 370, then we'll use it again. Okay, so now we're going to the large barrel. It's up to 370. I'm going to take it at the bottom and wrap it, just like I did with the other. And you just kind of want to twist it in as you curl. And again, pay attention to the ends. And as you can see, the curl from this very large one is a lot more like a beachy curl. It's very, very wide. And we're going to use a strand, about 1 inch wide. Again. And I'm using smaller strands also to show you the type of curl that it gives, but also because it gives you more curl. Twisting it in. And I'm going to hold it for about 10 seconds. A Vintage Vanity has an amazing tutorial right now, by the way, on how to get really beautiful, like a finger wave look with this iron. So make sure you check that out. I'm going to link it below. So this is the beautiful curl that one gives you. See that? Nice, loose, bouncy curl. Now this is my second favorite. This is a wonderful little small one, and I think this is the one that a Vintage Vanity uses in her finger waving tutorial. Now I used this one, I believe, in the vintage fashion show that we did at the Nashville Boogie. I used this one on the model named Ava Couture. Her hair was blonde and very, very long, and we only held it for about 5 seconds each curl, so I wanted the curls to be made to be spiral but loose. So this was a perfect option. I really, really love this one. You're going to see it gives you a great tight wave. This tool is always best for me to use on someone else. It's not my favorite to use on me. But dear Lord, look at that. Tight, tight little curl. Perfect for vintage styles, especially if you want a slight finger wave look. I will say that when I first got this, it was very hard for me to lock it. I think this is naturally kind of stiff when you first get it, so don't get concerned if that's the case. This is my favorite wand. I really love the vintage curls that this gives you. It is a tapered wand, so it's really good for vintage styles, but it's really great because it's tiny. It's so small, and I have never actually seen a curling wand this small that was tapered, so I was really excited to get this one particularly, and it's the first one I tried. When I do my tutorial, it will be exclusively with this one, so you can see how it works. I'm going to hold it for 10 seconds, and you're going to see the magic of this one. And I'll sometimes keep twisting it to kind of maintain the curl as it sets, because it'll twist sort of inside the curl. There you go. Wider at the top, smaller at the bottom. This is my favorite curler or wand from this setting. And this one is tapered a little different. This one is small at the bottom, large at the top. I believe that Ashley Marie did that beautiful burlesque style that she did with a wand similar to this one, but she kept her hair at this end. So you could technically do something like that with the smaller barrel. It would take a while, but it works really, really well, especially if you live in a place where it's not going to be an issue with humidity. So this is up to 267, 270. We've got 100 more degrees to go. It goes very fast. Starting at the bottom, keeping it as flat as possible. See, this is so cool. See how tight it is at the root and then how big it is at the bottom? So cool. And this one you've actually seen probably a few times. This is just a standard conical wand, and it curls really, really well. But this is the type of wand Lauren Reynolds uses a lot on her styles in her book on wedding styles. So this is going to be a beautiful one for using for vintage styles in general. I just feel that the smaller one is better for this climate and also better for the vintage styles that I like to create. But you can actually use this larger one really, really successfully as well. And I'm going to show you how this one curls. Use a little smaller section than the last one. Starting at the base and going up. And when you unfold it, there you go. Smaller at the bottom, the conical curl, smaller at the bottom, looser at the base. My general feeling on this item is that I just sort of think that a curling wand is a little bit more trouble than what I am willing to go to for myself for everyday wear. I think that a curling wand is something that is best reserved for styling someone else, and also reserved for like photo shoots and things that are going to be more short-lived in this climate. So I have mixed feelings about a curling wand in general. I'm definitely becoming more of a fan than I initially thought I would be, especially seeing that Lauren uses them, and I actually noticed that when I used it on a recent photo shoot that worked really well. However, it isn't my go-to setting choice for myself for this climate. I will still use wet sets all the time. My last curl is going to be the graduated curl. And this is really interesting how this turns out. I like to keep the end of the hair around the smaller portion between the little balls. And you'll see it gives you a really nice round curl. And it's like a graduated size curl. It's larger here, smaller here, larger here, smaller here. So that can be very, very good for waves. So I'm anxious to use this some more in my own styling endeavors, and I really feel like that it's an amazing purchase. I think that for the price, it offers you so much, and if I were going to choose a curling wand at this point, knowing that you have something with graduated sizes like this, as long as the barrels hold up. I have worried that maybe the lock will start to get looser over time. I have worried that maybe they'll start coming out on their own over time. I kind of worry about something that you have to change, that requires a little bit more function. But ideally, like in a perfect world, this would be what everyone has who uses a curling wand, because it gives you so many options. So it's my favorite curling wand that I've used, but I will let you know over time how it holds up, because I'll continue to use it in styling. So that's all I have to say about that. Hopefully that was helpful for you, and we will be doing a tutorial someday soon with the curling wand, the Sapphire curling wand.